One mother told me, my adult daughter has not spoken to me since 2 years. She has blocked me everywhere and she refuses any contact with me. Another mother said, my daughter communicates only through email, and if I try to contact her even on email, she threatens to file a police complaint. A third mother shared that her daughter had left her job and everything and held her responsible for her mental health difficulties, and now the daughter has come to the mother and is expecting her to provide for her while the daughter only works on her therapy. These are the mothers in their 50s and 60s who have come to us feeling anxious, helpless, guilty, and desperate because their adult children have completely rejected them. Many of these mothers also accept upfront that they were harsh, they were violent, or they were emotionally unavailable, or even toxic when their daughters were growing up. And many of them admitted, sadly, that they have been abusive towards these children. Their children's pain is real. At the same time, the sadness, the guilt, and the remorse that these mothers carry today are also very difficult to ignore, being a mother myself. When we explored their histories, another pattern became very clear. All these mothers had experienced highly abusive childhood themselves. Many had severe childhood experiences, financial hardships, very, very violent, toxic or unavailable parents, and highly dysfunctional family environments. As a result, some of these women became aggressive, controlling, or violent, and others became completely emotionally numbed or shut down. And when these women became parents, mothers, their coping mechanisms and trauma responses kicked in. The ones that they had developed during childhood to cope up with their own trauma and their own environment now began appearing in their parenting styles. Either they repeated what they had experienced because they had never learned any other way, or they completely shut down. And this is how unresolved trauma can move from one generation to the next. The previous generation often continued caring for their parents even when the parents had been cruel or abusive. Out of respect, out of responsibility, they remained connected and in many cases even supported their parents till the end of their lives. And this largely came from a moral, cultural conditioning that the previous generation lived with. Today, there is a lot of awareness about childhood trauma, and of course, it has helped many people recognize that the harm they have experienced as children. However, sadly and alarmingly, it has also created a new kind of polarization in some families. Adult children use the language of trauma, boundaries, emotional safety to attack, shame, blame, reject, and completely disconnect from their parents. I understand that boundaries are necessary, but boundaries cannot become walls. A person may also need distance to begin healing. Absolutely, I agree with it. However, blaming, shaming your parents and completely disconnecting from them does not heal the wounds that you are carrying. Healing begins when you take responsibility for those wounds and actively work for your own well-being and transformation. This does not mean that you are responsible for what happened to you. It only means that as an adult, you now have the ability to decide what happens next. This intergenerational cycle and the way childhood experiences influence adult emotions, relationships, and parenting is one of the key areas we have explored in our book, What's Wrong with Me versus What Happened to Me, Indian Perspectives on Childhood Trauma and Recovery. I have co-authored this book with Dr. Gunjan Trivedi and Dr. Hemalata Ramani, and it is published by Penguin Random House. So get your copy today. The link is in the description. And remember, even after your parents are no longer alive, the anger and helplessness and the wounds will continue to harm you and hurt you. In some cases, that anger turns into guilt, regret, or even shame. The parent may be gone, but the emotional wound continues to remain in your space. Many adult children say, my parents were so cruel that they deserve to be alone. They deserve to suffer. I'm happy to see them suffering and going through loneliness. Those words usually come from a very deeply wounded and angry part of the person. But watching your parents suffer will not create your own healing or transformation, and that is the message I want to really give here. It may validate your anger, but it does not resolve the wound. Neither does it heal it. At some point, emotional validation has to be followed by healing. Some wait lifelong for their parents to apologize, and it never comes. You deserve a life that contains joy, peace, safety, and emotional freedom. Your parents may or may not be able to give those things to you, but as an adult, you can begin creating them for yourself. Once you work on your own wounds, you may also begin to see your parents differently. Only and only when you heal your wounds can you see your parents' wounds as well and become empathetic towards that. The parent who appeared frightening, cruel, or emotionally unavailable during your childhood may also be carrying a wounded inner child who once felt helpless, ashamed, unsafe, and desperate for love. Compassion for that parent may not come immediately, and it should not be forced. A person with 15 broken bones cannot be expected to sympathize with someone who is upset just because he lost a race. Your own wounds need attention first. As healing progresses, you may eventually become capable of looking at the parent with more understanding, more empathy, or at least a little more neutrality. Not every relationship can be repaired. Every parent-child relationship does not have to be close, affectionate, or positive. Sometimes reaching a space of just being neutral by itself is a sign of healing. You no longer need the parent to suffer. Their behavior no longer controls your inner world, and you are no longer carrying the same intensity of anger every day. That is your freedom. Many of the mothers I have worked with say that they have apologized repeatedly to their children. They have admitted where they have gone wrong, and yet their children continue to isolate and reject them. Remember, an apology cannot erase your childhood trauma, but spending an entire lifetime only blaming the parent also will not erase that trauma and will not even transform your life. At some point, you have to take charge of your emotional recovery, take ownership of it, and do something about it. Your parents may never change. They may be too rigid, too old, or simply unwilling to understand, or they may not be even capable to come to the awareness that you are capable of coming to. But when you heal and transform yourself, the way you experience your relationship can begin to change. So use your understanding of childhood trauma as a reason to heal rather than a reason to remain trapped in the same pain. Do it for yourself because you may not be able to do it for them. Childhood trauma can also follow us into adulthood through anxiety, people-pleasing behaviors, low self-worth, relationship difficulties, and inability to feel safe even when life has changed. I have made another video explaining the 5 ways how childhood trauma follows you into adulthood. So click here to watch that video next.